Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. This is Estella Lugo with H&F, and we have a lunchtime CMT Connect workshop for you today. I'm going to be patching in our guest, Christina Chambers from Abiitity360, who'll be joining us shortly. Good. So how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks so much for joining us for a nice little lunchtime webinar with us. So so why don't you introduce yourself? I kind of just gave everyone your name and where you're working, but just to give everyone a little background, I met Christina a few months back. She was introduced to us by Brielle Carter, who is the head management there at Abilities360 in Phoenix, Arizona, which is also where we will be hosting our 2019 patient summit called Movement is Medicine. And we are just so excited about this event and just about hearing about, and a facility that exists like this out there, because I think it's pretty mind-blowing for people who are just learning about it now, and now you're working there. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I'm a desert girl for sure. And I found out about Abiitity360 when I first got injured. Actually, the manager and of Abiitity360 was my recreational therapist. So full circle, 10 years later, now he's the manager here. So he's literally seen me from the point that I, at my lowest point, straight out of rehab, to now being a college student and working for Abiitity360. So it's been full circle, amazing, and I love my job, and I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be.
Yeah, it really seems like that. And for those people watching who have not yet heard of the facility Abilities360, can you tell us a little bit about what it is and why it's so special?
Yeah, so Abiitity360 is a facility built for the intention to serve people with disabilities. So we started as a center of independent living, and then they wanted to take it, our Arizona chapter wanted to take it a step further, and we wanted to offer like a rec facility and also like a meeting place and a hub for disability, basically. So where I work at the Sports and Fitness Center, and our job is to provide recreation to people with disabilities, but also we help out veterans and their families and military, and also the over 50 age population, and also children. We have a lot of programming, and it's a lot of fun here.
That's great.
Sorry, my boss popped his head in. I was like, hello.
Yeah, no,
I know.
it sounds like, from what we've been learning so far, just very family oriented, community oriented, and pretty much, anyone under the sun is welcome to partake in the activities there, regardless of, this very disability. So it's super exciting. And we can't wait to work with you there. And so what exactly, what kind of activities do you work with or instruct there?
Okay, so I'm specifically in charge of like our adapted outdoor recreation, our healthy teens programming. I help out a little bit with wheelchair basketball, and then also I'm teaching dance classes.
Awesome. And you do have plenty of experience with that, because you are you do a lot of adaptive dance on campus and then as well as off campus. Can you tell us a little bit about the awesome group that you're affiliated with, or you work with?
Yeah. So I don't know if you remember the show, or maybe, I don't know, the show was on like Sundance Channel, but it was called Push Girls. Mm-hmm. And it was about basically women in wheelchairs and living their life. But there was an individual named Chelsea on there, and I wanted to meet her because I thought it was so awesome that she was doing dance. So she started actually a whole dance team, and now they're called the Rollettes. and they opened up kind of their dance team to kind of take interns or understudies. And so I'm a little sister on the Rolettes dance team based out in LA. So it's a lot of fun. It's like a sisterhood, kind of like, I guess you could think of it, it's like a sorority, a wheelchair girls sorority with like dance. So it's like really supportive and like empowering. And yeah, I love it. It feels like my family.
Yeah, and I've been following them for a while, and it's just super inspiring and impressive, and just, it's, the dance performances just get better and better and better in the videos. And now you guys are doing like a summer camp for younger girls, which I think is just incredible, because I know from my personal experience, I used to be able to dance when I was very little. I was in dance classes, and then I didn't have those opportunities to do adaptive dance. It was either I could go on my tippy toes and keep up with the class, or I was out, which is, what unfortunately what the case was. So now just to see this whole movement of adaptive dance, whether you're in a wheelchair or you're sitting in a chair, and that, you still have that capability of putting on an incredible performance, getting the, the exercise, the, and just still being able to really express yourself through dance, I think is so important for so many of us. I think for the emotional health and also for physical health. So yeah, and that's why we wanted to include some of that into our program for the summit. So we will be having an incredible rooftop cocktail hour on the first night of the Movement is Medicine Summit, and we'll be doing a little adaptive dance workshop up there, which will be great, because it's not just people with disabilities, it's everyone, right? I mean, it's the dance and the routine is pretty much adapted to anyone participating.
Yeah, and that's kind of what's really important about Rolettes and Abiitity360. We try to include everybody. We try to adapt anything, because really anybody can do anything that they want to try. And I'm willing to like adapt it, and like we can work together. Like anybody can dance.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, we're looking forward to that. And I know that's just one of the activities you do there. And I know also you like to kind of go out on adventures and do a lot of the outdoors activities that Phoenix has available. So I think you sent us some photos here, and we put together a little video. I just love these, and it's definitely making me rethink my trip out there to include some of these excursions. And here we go. So yeah, so tell us a little, we'll walk us through some of these photos here, because I love the paddleboarding. And where was that?
So the adaptive paddleboarding, that's something that is new to like the adapted sports recreation kind of community. Okay. And so basically it allows you to stay in a chair while paddleboarding. But this is at Tempe Town Lake, which is like 5 minutes away from my work. And I know the water looks gross, but it was such a beautiful day, adapted paddleboarding that day. So it was a lot of fun. It's something that I actually really love doing, and I'm lucky that I work here because they let me, try out all these new things. I'm kind of like their test guinea pig person, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah. I feel like it also allows you to feel like you're paddleboarding like anybody else, because you hear people talking about how paddleboarding is difficult, and I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty hard, but in a good workout kind of way.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. So those kind of, there's like accessories that's like a special paddleboard, especially for the wheelchair.
Yes. Yeah, it's a special paddleboard that was it was donated to us, and basically you're able to just like roll on to the paddleboard. Yeah.
Awesome. And tell us about the other photo there.
So that photo was taken in Antelope Canyon, which when I called that, like I've always wanted to go. I've seen pictures of it, especially being in Arizona. Like a lot of my peers and friends have gone, but I've never seen somebody in a wheelchair go. And so when I called them, I was like, hey, like I'm in a wheelchair, but I want to go to Antelope Canyon. They're like, no, you can't go. And I was like, yes, I can. And they're like, no. I'm like, I bought a ticket, so I'll see you next Saturday. And then, yeah, and then I showed up and they were like, oh, okay. Like once you show up and they see you, they're like, oh, okay, like you're really gonna do this. And I'm like, yeah. And so they just like threw my wheelchair in the back of the truck because it drives you down to the canyon.
Okay.
And then I just rolled through it with my free wheel that I have there, which basically just lifts up the front wheels. So I'm able to like push through like softer sand and rough terrain. Wow. So I made it through the entire canyon. It was so beautiful.
That's incredible. That's incredible. That's something that I really would love to do. So yeah, it's just really encouraging to see that, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. And it's just, there's no reason why people with disabilities shouldn't be able to enjoy these, you know, these natural parks and things.
No, I feel like everybody should have access to the outdoors. Absolutely. I think that every place that you go, you should have access to if anybody else has access.
Absolutely. Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the other things here. So yeah, tell us a little bit about these.
So the picture on the left is from, it's called The Edge of the World, which is pretty like easy to get to, I guess, if you have like an SUV or 4-wheel drive. I kind of drove to the edge of the world, and then I just took my wheelchair out and I was able to like roll on the edge of the world. So that's actually in Flagstaff, but it overlooks Sedona. So it's so beautiful. Wow. And I love camping, so we camped on the edge of the world, basically. And then on the right is it's called a terrain hopper, and it is basically a cool hiking kind of apparatus trail chair, not really a chair, because as you can see, it kind of looks like a quad. Yeah, so it's kind of taking, it's taking like the medical out of the adapted version of hiking. Kind of. So it doesn't look very medical. It's very like cool, and like so many people would stop me on the trail and be like, whoa, what is that? And I'm like, it's a terrain hopper. I can take it on any trail. So that allows me to hike on rougher trails here in Arizona.
And that's something you can rent. How is that, through Abiitity360 or?
Yes, so we're very fortunate. We have 2 at Abiitity360, and we've been partnering with amazing people that help us make these hikes happen. But we go out and we take people, and as long as you're able to transfer yourself or you bring somebody to transfer you, you can go on any trail. We also have a joystick option. So if you're not able, if you're not able to push with your hands or your fingers, we have a like joystick, and also there's an option to add like a huff and blow on it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Blow and control a terrain hopper. So literally anybody can go hiking.
Wow. Yeah, that was my thought, because I saw the handbrakes there and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'd be able to do those with CMT. You know, we have compromised hand strength, a lot of us. So, but that's great to hear that, you know, there are those options. So I love it.
Yeah.
It just looks like so much fun, and nothing that I would ever have thought that I'd be able to do either.
I know. That's what we love to share it with everybody.
Yeah. Okay, and here's a video of you using it, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at you in action here. Very cool. Love it. That's beautiful. It just looks like such a beautiful scenic area.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh my goodness. So tell us a little bit about these here.
Okay, so I mean, my job was so cool. I can't say it enough. I love Abiitity360. Like, you guys, I'm so happy you guys are coming here in November. But on the left is, and the right, farthest right, is me rock climbing. It's adapted rock climbing. So we take a group of, you have to sign up, but a group of like 10 people, and we take them to a trailhead, and we find a rock, and we just rock climb with this amazing group that helps us do adapted rock climbing. And anybody can rock climb. We had somebody who had a visual impairment. We had somebody who had like an incomplete spinal cord injury that wanted to try using the rock. And then we had someone like me who's unable to use their legs. And I was just kind of like pull up to go. But we also had like a quadriplegic, and she, like, we strap the rock climbing thing and she just pulls her like arms down so she's able to go. But there's also an option where like someone can like help you rock climb up. So it's very like adapted to whatever you can do, you know?
Right. And then what is this middle photo here? So this is at the top of, is this a different
Yeah, this is called Chocolate Falls.
Wow.
And so when it rains in the Grand Canyon, this water comes down current and from the Grand Canyon. So this water is all from the Grand Canyon, and it just goes over these beautiful like red rocks and this red mud, and it's called Chocolate Falls. And like, I know it looks kind of dirty in this picture, but in person it's so beautiful, and it's just red and rock and just gorgeous.
I love it. I didn't even realize that was water there until you mentioned it. I looked a little closer. So this trail here is also accessible in the Grand Canyon?
So it is, you drive to it, and then if you are able to, then you can roll like I did to the edge, but you can drive up to the edge and then get out of your car and see this. So I would call it accessible by car.
Right.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
It looks amazing. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to add that to my list too.
I know, you need to come to Arizona.
I know.
So this, oh my gosh, this is on New Year's this year.
Okay.
January. And I wanted to like jump into the new year, and I was visiting Oregon, and so I jumped out of a plane, or more of like they pushed me out of the plane. There was no jumping happening.
There is no free will involved there.
No. Okay, I have to share a funny story. The funny thing was, like, they were asking me kind of like, oh, can you put your legs, like when we get out of the plane, can you put them on the step? And I was like, oh yeah, for sure, like I'll just move them. But the second the door opened and my legs were out, they were just flapping in the wind. It was so funny. And he's like, all right, that works for me. And then we just fell out of the plane.
Wow. So this is definitely on my list of things to do as well.
Yes.
And my hesitation, I'm sure a lot of people are, is when somebody's paralyzed or has limited use of their legs, is that like a risk for like the whole landing scenario? I mean, or is that something that the instructors have been trained?
Yeah. So the people that I went with were trained to do it with somebody with a disability, with my specific as a para. But there's a place, Arizona is a huge hub for skydiving. So I mean, if you come in November, you can go skydiving. But we have a team that is trained for quadriplegics, like, or not being able to use all four of your limbs, and they kind of like, not tie you up, but kind of construct like sort of a way for you to land.
Okay.
So there are people that are trained and facilities that are trained. But when I did it, you get like skydiving pants, and I held my pants, like I held my legs up by myself. But there are people trained. Yeah.
That's great. I love it. I love seeing this. I love seeing you, like, all excited. And I did parasailing actually this year on
That's on my list. I've never done that.
Yeah, so I was kind of like in the air up to for New Year's Eve, which is great. So it's kind of like that opportunity, just like you said, to start the new year with an adventure and something fresh. I love this. And then just going back, like, I know we didn't really touch on it earlier, but you mentioned you had injury. You don't have CMT, for anyone who's asking, but tell us a little bit about that and where your journey started.
So I think when I met you, I felt like I connected with you a lot because I have a spinal cord injury, but it was caused by transverse myelitis. And transverse myelitis is very rare. There's not a lot of research around it. They don't really know how it's caused, and they don't really know what the long-term effects are or really much about it. So my immune system attacked my spinal cord and caused inflammation, which caused the spinal cord injury. So I'm like a T3 level down, which is like chest down, paralyzed. Yeah. So I feel like I connected with you a lot because we're so rare, and I don't think a lot of people really know like all the time what's like best for us and our bodies.
Right. Absolutely. And I think like, you know, I know you were telling me that before, you know, the injury, you were very active, you were a dancer, I think you said you were competing as well. So I'm sure, you know, my transition, I grew up with CMT. I don't know anything different, but I'm always just super impressed and inspired by people who have just, you know, gone from being fully functional to all of a sudden just having this, you know, their life cracked open or whatever you want to call it. And so what, like, what got you through that transition emotionally, and how were you able to kind of shift your maybe career and your outlook on life after that?
Yeah, so I mean, I believe that in a way I'm unluckily lucky that it happened. I was 12 years old when mine happened, so similar to like when you're going through that, when you're trying to figure out who you are, this kind of became a part of my like identity, I would say. But how I got through it is I was always like a determined, independent child, and I never wanted that to change. So the second that this happened to me, I didn't understand it at first, but I still was making moves, and I was determined to be as independent as possible. So I've always been trying to be as independent as possible. But then I found like adapted sports and all these other groups and meeting other people just like me. And that's kind of how I was able to adjust to this so easily, with just being surrounded by amazing, incredible people and being very determined to be independent.
I love that. And I love that now you have the opportunity to do that for other people.
Yes, yeah.
As a leader.
I had a friend ask me not too long ago, like, she said, what would you be doing if you weren't in a wheelchair? And that question just like blew my mind. Like, what would I be doing? And I feel like this gave me kind of the answer to that question that so many people ask themselves, like, what should I do with my life? What is my purpose? And I've like found my purpose, as I know that you probably have, that this is like your calling, and you didn't even know it your whole life until it hit you that this was it for you.
Absolutely. I love that. I think it's super powerful. I think, you know, who better than to help other people get through what they're getting, you know, going through, than somebody who's already been there and can, you know, reference their own personal experience and just can shed that wisdom and just encouragement that it's, you know, it's not the end of the world, that there are ways to get around any activity that, you know, your heart is set on. So I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's another example of that. And this is you in a canoe here. This is beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So my Christmas gift that I wanted adventure. So she took me, this is in Arizona, so beautiful. These are all pictures basically from Arizona, but this is at Watson Lake. Okay. And she rented a kayak. And so we just kayaked through the lake, and then we docked the kayaks, and I butt scooted to like some rock, and we had like a picnic dinner, and it was, yeah, it was beautiful.
It looks beautiful. It's super, super peaceful too. I love it. And here's another one of you on your wheelchair.
Yeah, okay. This is a story that kind of got me into the outdoors. I had a friend. It's great to like surround yourself with people that are like similar to you, but also different. She has the same level injury as I do, and she is really into outdoors. And so she took me camping for the first time I've ever gone camping to Joshua Tree National Park. And we slept on the desert ground in sleeping bags and a tarp. And then she just showed me kind of how to hike and how to wheelie through Joshua Tree National Park. It was so beautiful. It was life-changing, and it like ignited the fire in me to start getting outdoors more.
Wow. I would never put those two things together, wheeling through Joshua Tree Park. So is there like, there's like a trail that's accessible with the wheelchair, like the entire trail?
So no, like as you can see, yeah, this is like rocks.
Okay.
This was a challenge to get to, but my goal like is to go to national parks and figure out a way for everybody to have access, because even though that they have, every national park has an accessible camping site, and also you get to, if you have a disability, you can go to any national park for free. Yes. And I think they're trying to get people with disabilities out to national parks more. And they're starting to like be better about trails and things, but there's a long way for them to go still. So it is discouraging when you arrive at a beautiful national park and there's not access to it.
Or one small, tiny little area.
Like yeah, and you can't really see that adventure or the thing that's over the spot that they tell you can't go any further, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree, but I love that. I think
so that's why, yeah, I think like that's the kind of the goal with the terrain hoppers. I've been talking with the guy that kind of owns them, and our goal is to get a terrain hopper at every national park so that anybody can have access to the trails.
Right. I love it.
Yeah. I think so that's the goal.
That venture out, you know, especially now with social media, you know, it's like word of mouth is powerful, travels so quickly that I think that's, you know, all it takes is a few brave, you know, individuals like yourself willing to be the guinea pigs here and the test dummies, and then somebody else says, oh my god, I didn't know that was possible, like myself, and I'm like, okay, sign me up. And yeah, that's the beauty of you know, just spreading the word and the work that you do. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we go, some more photos. I'm gonna close our window here. So this looks like a little biking action here.
Yeah, so on the left this is a track chair. I love going on runs, like just pushing around places. It's like a lot of fun for me. So this is me just practicing on a track. And then on the right, last year, and I'm gonna do it again this year, I competed in a triathlon. Wow. So it's for the Challenged Athletes Foundation, which have you heard of them?
No, I have not.
The Challenged Athletes Foundation. Oh, so they basically, they give like thousands of grants, adapted sports equipment, and pieces of like independence. So anytime you want to travel somewhere with a disability or try a sport or need equipment, they're the people you write to. So I compete in their triathlon every year to raise money, and I'm going to do it again this year. And it's in La Jolla Cove, California, which is gorgeous.
Awesome. So are they an international organization, so somebody in New York could contact them, or is it just solely in California?
So they're national. Okay. A lot of people from all over the nation use them.
Okay, so yeah, let's make sure we include a link in that in our YouTube video of this.
So Challenge Athletes Foundation. And I think that their grant cycle just opened. Okay. So if you want to write for a grant, then, and it's any disability.
Any disability. For any type of equipment?
Yes. For sports equipment or pieces of independence. So like if you need a wheelchair or a walker or a sports chair or a track chair or a hand cycle or any other kind of cycle, then they're the people that you write to.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Love it. See, we're learning so many new things. I love it. Okay, and here you are at this was recently, right, at the Roulettes experience?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm doing a contemporary piece. That's why I look so emotional.
I love it.
Yeah, this was at our recent Roulettes experience. We had over 150 women with disabilities all in one room. It was so beautiful and so life-changing for me, probably more than all of them. And I just love being able to empower women and be surrounded by women and just dance it out, because I feel like dance brings in that beauty that you've been craving to feel, and it just makes you feel beautiful and strong and sexy and just everything that every woman should be able to feel. But also men, it just brings like a joy to your life. Like just dancing just makes you feel empowered and amazing.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think, you know, it's great. It's so exciting to see this grow each year. I know you started out with just a handful, a few dozen girls, and now to see this spreading, you know, across the country, and seeing these young girls who, you know, in other scenarios would be kind of left out, and now they're just part of this big community, and they have so many role models, you know, no pun intended, but to look up to, and it's just super exciting, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we have another photo here. So this is you at the Abiitity360 adaptive dance class, right?
Yeah. So this is our kind of our it's a group fitness room, but it's also a dance studio. Right. And I made a little like Roulettes dance group in my community, because since they're based in LA, I don't really have like a close group of women. And all of these girls have gone to Roulettes experience, but they come to my class once or twice a month, and they help me become a better choreographer, a better teacher, and we just learn dances together. This was after shooting a National Dance Day video, which you'll see a snippet of in the next one, but the video's not done yet because National Dance Day is on the 21st of September. So, okay. Oh yeah, here it is. This is Megan. She's my best friend. Oh my gosh, I love her.
Okay, so let's get into it.
I love her. You can tell her thinking about the dance.
I love it. That's so cool. You guys are good.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, I think we have one more here. Oops. There we go. Hi, tell us about that picture.
Oh my gosh, so this is at my favorite country dancing bar.
Okay.
That's my girlfriend, and she's my favorite dance partner. But that's actually where we met. So we went back for like a year anniversary of meeting there.
Right.
And then we danced the night away. Usually she's dipping me, but I was like, let me dip you.
I love it.
And then someone snapped a picture, and I was like, that looks so cool.
That is like the best. You should definitely give them a shout out or something. I don't know who took that picture, but they got it spot on. That's such a great picture. I love it. I love that's how you guys met.
Yeah,
it's just so cool.
I want to like, oh, sorry, what was that?
No, I just said I love that that's how you guys met, and it just speaks so much about your relationship and just your career and everything.
I know, it was so, and like, yeah, it's beautiful.
I love it.
It's so cute. I can't.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this has just been super informative for our community, and hopefully for anyone else catching this video when we upload it to YouTube. That these types of facilities exist, that sometimes it takes a little research, but these activities that we always wished and dreamed we could do are available. They are accessible. There's people like you that are living proof of that. And yeah, and anyone who is still on the fence about coming to our Movement is Medicine Summit, I really, really hope that you go for it. This is, I know it's going to be out of your comfort zone, and it's something that everybody might, be a little bit nervous about, but we are all kind of, a big family. We're going to have over 100 people there. So there's definitely going to be, people of all ages, all different types of abilities, and just to be under this, umbrella of like a safe environment for us to kind of push our boundaries and connect, and just rethink and reevaluate our limitations and our mental blocks that sometimes come along with all of this. And I think we have a question here from someone. Let's oh yes, and how do we register? So go to movementismedicine.com, and all the information will be on there. We have our agenda, and we have our speakers, and oh, you put a fantastic list of top things to do in Phoenix, Arizona, right? All accessible restaurants and attractions in the area. So thank you so much for putting that together.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's on the website as well with all the links. So, if you want to extend your stay a few days, enjoy some of the beautiful scenery and parks and nightlife that Phoenix has to offer. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's been so fun. And then if you have any questions about this webinar or the summit, you can email me, Estella, at hnf-cure.org, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions as well. So thanks again, Christina. And how can people find you on social media?
Oh, I'm mostly active on Instagram.
Okay.
So at Christina_Chambers.
Awesome.
That's the best place to reach me.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks again, and we'll be seeing you soon in November. Okay, Ann?
All right. I'll see you in November.
Yes. Bye, sweet.